What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. All right, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome back to EP09 Bodybuilding. We're going to start this one off today on a topic that I have received many messages about. Ivan Bodybuilding still awaiting the return of his YouTube channel after his channel was hacked and deleted over 2 weeks ago at this point. It's almost been 3 weeks, actually, since Ivan lost his channel. Now, I was speaking with Ivan recently, and I'm going to give you guys the info that I do have up to date. But, you know, it's been a very interesting turn of events since Ivan did lose his channel. For those of you that have been following this topic on my channel, Ivan actually had his channel name stolen from somebody that was trying to take advantage of his misfortune, essentially. You know, somebody actually stole his channel name. I did a video on that, and lo and behold, shortly afterwards, they did end up changing the channel name. But honestly, you guys, the videos were terrible quality. You know, it was honestly disgraceful. But that's neither here nor there. The up-to-date information at this point that I received from Ivan is that he has had further correspondence with YouTube over the last couple of days, and they do assure him that they are working through the process of restoring his channel. So that is excellent news. It does look like he will get his old channel back. He will not have to start a new one, which he actually said he would do if he had to. If it did come down the pipe that he could not get his old channel back, you would see Ivan start another channel. Luckily, it doesn't look like he's going to have to start completely from scratch again. For those of you still looking for your Ivan bodybuilding fix, you can go over to his Instagram page. I will put the link in the description below for you guys. Even actually concentrating on doing shorts videos for the time being, which is something that he said he wanted to do for quite some time. So now having that opportunity to concentrate on that, I don't know if he'll continue doing it after he gets his channel back. I'm assuming that he probably will, because it is something, like I said, he wanted to do for quite some time. But regardless, you guys, this is really good news. You can expect him to get his channel back soon. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update on everything happening with Ivan Bodybuilding. Like I said, many messages. This guy has a ton of support in the YouTube community, in the bodybuilding community. So just hang tight and you'll see Ivan back on YouTube very soon. All right, moving on to some physique updates. We have an update from Martin Fitzwater posting on his YouTube channel at 15 weeks out of the Mr. Olympia. This footage was actually taken while Martin was overseas at the Portugal Pro, going through the full round of mandatory poses for his coach, Stefan Kinzel, Bossofoutlaw. And I gotta say, this footage was actually much more encouraging for me than some of the still picture updates that I saw Martin posting on his Instagram. I actually think that Martin looks pretty good here. You know, we're seeing that detail in the quads at 15 weeks out that I don't think was translating over to his Instagram necessarily. He looks pretty good here, I gotta say. We're still not seeing that hard separation in the arms. I still would like to see more separation from the biceps to the triceps in the front. Honestly, I think that just one thing, if he could really bring that in, I think it would really transform his front double bicep. When it comes to his front lat spread, you know, I really think that Martin needs more roundness in the shoulders. You can see he's very wide across the clavicles. You know, I think he executes this pose very well. Good quad sweep. But it's just that those shoulders don't necessarily pop. Now, this is a downward angle of the camera, so maybe there was a bit of an illusion there that made his shoulders look smaller. But for those of you guys that have seen Martin Fitzwater in detail posing before on stage, I think he does just need more shoulder overall. You know, the arms and the chest actually overpower his shoulders, which most bodybuilders have the opposite problem. But look, regardless of that kind of nitpicking here, at 15 weeks out, excellent conditioning. In fact, Bossofoutlaw telling Martin that he would actually like to see him a little bit less lean in the face. You know, he might actually be a little bit ahead of schedule. Perhaps the strategy that Bossofoutlaw is thinking is that Martin can suffer less now in order to suffer more getting close to the Olympia. Now, when it comes to the Olympia, the big question with Martin Fitzwater is, will he be able to get back into the top 4 on the biggest stage in bodybuilding? And you know, at this point, I gotta say, I think that's going to be very difficult for him to do that again. The playing field has changed so much in 1 year. It is absolutely ridiculous. You know, even the question of Martin being in the first call-out, I think that's still possible. And, you know, it's probably still likely when it comes right down to it. Many predictions have Martin in still that top 6, but it's possible that Martin may end up dropping to probably, at the worst you could expect, the middle of the second call-out. But, you know, you got to remember, this guy has gone through one Olympia. He placed top 4 at his Olympia debut. That is almost unheard of, you guys. There's still a ton of potential when it comes to Martin Fitzwater. He is still a very young competitor, and as the playing field continues to change and as he continues to progress in his bodybuilding career, I still think you're going to see this guy be consistently in that first call-out at the Olympia. Maybe just not necessarily this year, because I do think that he needs a pretty long offseason in order to maybe fix some of those things. Like I said, the shoulders really coming up in size is one. Actually, you know what? That's probably the biggest thing for me, and the arm separation. I have no idea what he could possibly do when it comes to that arm separation from the front, but regardless, I want to know what you guys think about this latest update from Martin Fitzwater. Do you think that Martin will make it back into that first call-out at the Mr. Olympia, or do you think that he needs to take the time, make some improvements, and then show up again to maintain at least that top 4? You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Moving on to the latest update from Quint Beastwood, Quinton Araya, at 2 weeks out of the Tampa Pro. And you guys, very impressive update, I think, here from Quint Beastwood. A lot of people saying in the last few updates that I did on Quint Beastwood is that he just wasn't lean enough at this point. You know, the guy had to be really peeled out of his mind in order to really come back and impress the fans of bodybuilding. And I actually think that he has made improvements since my last update. I think the last time I did an update was around 4 weeks out. I think I am seeing more detail in the quads at this point. I think that that midsection is actually getting smaller, getting tighter. Better separation of the arms from the front, but still something that I think he needs to work on. Overall, when it comes to his most muscular, you know, we're seeing the striations in the shoulders. That chest, still waiting to see a little bit more of the striations through the chest. But, you know, for 2 weeks out, he does still have the time to really suck down, I think, you guys. And I do think that this will be the best version of Quint Beastwood that we've ever seen step on a bodybuilding stage. I really would have liked to seen some shots from the back of Quint Beastwood at this point, because that's one thing that I think is still in question as well. How is the conditioning in the lower body from the back? You know, we haven't seen any updates on that as of late. We'll see if we do see anything before the show. But regardless, Quint Beastwood continuing to coach himself, and I think doing an excellent job so far. Still receiving some support from Dorian Hamilton at Pure Muscle and Fitness, but for the most part, this guy doing it all himself, keeping those stress levels low, you know, going with the flow, the feel of the body. It seems like it is working for him, but we are getting into those dire last 2 weeks before the Tampa Pro. Actually, Quinton, I believe, also doing the Texas Pro, if I'm not mistaken. But look, I think that he is in the driver's seat right now to come in and be standing in the middle of that first call-out at the Tampa Pro. This guy looks absolutely ridiculous right now. I think he is going to be very difficult for anyone to stand next to, as long as he does bring that razor-sharp conditioning, because we can see that the size has definitely come up for Quint Beastwood. You know, we can see that he's maintaining that fullness, that roundness, you know, but the question is going to be conditioning. And within the next 2 weeks, we will know what Quint Beastwood is going to look like when it comes to stepping on that stage. Is he going to be peeled enough? I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. Will this be the Quint Beastwood that finally makes it to the Olympia stage? Let me know what you guys think about this latest update from Quint Beastwood. As for me, I think this is the best that we've seen, so I think this is his best shot. As long as he can bring himself in, then we're going to see it happen, you guys. If he can't do it this time, maybe he tries to, you know, pull off another couple of shows where he coaches himself, or maybe look for more help when it comes to that peak week. Either way, let me know what you guys think about this version of Quint Beastwood in the comments below. Still very impressive and very highly anticipated from the bodybuilding world to see him step back on a stage. And rounding out this video with the weekly check-in pictures from Nick Walker at 12 weeks out of his return to the Mr. Olympia stage. Nick sitting at 289 pounds. A very impressive 289 pounds. I'm sure a lot of you guys saw my last video where actually Nick has continued to go up in weight since the 18-week out mark. He's actually up by about 12 pounds in about 6 weeks going into the Olympia. It's absolutely insane to consider the fact that Nick is still putting on weight. In fact, in his latest YouTube video saying that he was actually 289.6. And Nick does like to round up, so you may as well call it 290 at this point, you guys. Absolutely insane. This will be the best version of Nick Walker I think we have ever seen on a bodybuilding stage. And although these pictures are definitely impressive, just wait until you guys see this latest update that he posted on his YouTube page. Check this out. Now, Nick actually turned this into a short on his Instagram as well. And you guys, this had over 65,000 likes on this post. Absolutely crazy amount of engagement from the fans. But what I didn't know is that he actually had more when it came to that post. We actually see Nick hit a side chest here. We do see him hit a back double. This front double bicep, you guys, I mean, the Mutant is back without a doubt. This guy is the freak of freaks. Absolutely ridiculous when it comes to this point in his prep at 12 weeks old, 290 pounds. Are you kidding me, you guys? Absolutely insane. Now, I would like to see Nick continue to crunch down on his abs. I'm sure that he's not going to do this elongated midsection on stage, probably just doing it for the camera here in the posing room. But either way, very impressive version of Nick Walker that we're seeing right now. You know, Nick actually giving praise to some of the compounds that he's actually put into this prep that he hasn't used previously as part of his success. You guys, it doesn't matter necessarily what this guy's taking versus what anybody else is taking. All that really matters is the look that you're going to bring to the stage. And without a doubt, there is a very good reason why many people have Nick Walker in their top 3. Even more people, I think, are leaning toward Nick being in that top 2. And I have seen more conversation than ever of Nick actually winning the Mr. Olympia. And without a doubt, I think that that conversation is absolutely justified right now. This guy looks absolutely insane. And the fact that his physique looks like this right now, when you guys actually listen to him speak, the mindset that he has right now, you know, very calm, very cool, very collected, still very much locked in. I think Nick is probably more locked in than anyone going into this Mr. Olympia. This is a very dangerous package of Nick Walker. When Nick is no longer concerned about the competition and Nick is solely focused on himself, this is the result. Not just continual improvement of his physique, but Nick working on continual improvement of his mind, you guys. You know, very concentrated. I cannot even begin to fathom what we are going to see from Nick Walker when he does take that stage, but I have a feeling that Nick is going to absolutely shock the bodybuilding world. So you guys let me know what you think about this current update from Nick Walker. Do you actually think that Nick can come in and win the Mr. Olympia? And if you do, what changed for you if you are one of those people that, you know, had Nick in the top 3 maybe even a month ago as opposed to now? You know, for me, the increased size, this conditioning, the mindset, just listening to Nick speak as well. There's something different about Nick when it comes to this prep in particular. So I am very excited. Not quite going to do my Olympia predictions as of yet, but I will tell you guys with extreme confidence that I do have Nick in my top 3. So you guys let me know what you think about that in the comments below. But I'm going to wrap up the video right here. Check out BayouMuscle.com. Use code EP10 at checkout. Appreciate all you guys supporting the channel up to this point. But that's it for me in this video. Again, thank you guys for tuning in to EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.